Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, and it's a real treat to be here giving you information. What is going on in cryptocurrency? What are the rumors, and what is being talked about to keep you ahead, at least on top of the game, to make the best decisions for yourself? Always be sure to verify. Always, do not trust, verify. Make sure you check out sources a little bit deeper, and don't invest based off anything you hear here. I'm a dummy. Just because I've been doing this for years doesn't mean I have any idea what's going on here. It's a new frontier. I'm just here witnessing it and sharing it with you guys. Thanks for joining me here. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about the prices, which have been doing quite good today. Looks like Bitcoin wants to see a renewed push to its resistance at $21,500. It almost breached it before. If it does breach that, I imagine it's going to get a really nice jump up from there, over $500 probably immediately, probably likely closer to $1,000. You have Ethereum also up about the same, 1.4% at $1,558, just north of 1,557, which is a dear and true number. I think what we're seeing with Bitcoin is some sort of defying of gravity. I would have expected some sort of pullback, but to me, this is just a sign of strength that we're seeing here, where it looks like it's defying gravity and doesn't want to pull back below its levels of. It doesn't look like it really wants to break $21,000 much, but at least $20,000, which is a big psychological point. It was the top of one of the prior cycles in 2017, and it seems like it wants to set that as a base level, if not just continue to climb up numbers here. I think there's a lot more money awash in the world. There's a lot more people paying attention right now, and it's not unfathomable to think that this bull run, once it gets catalyzed, once it gets going, could probably jump up higher quicker than most people expect. So it would be dangerous to be shorting here. But I think a lot of that is what's driving this rally. This keeps sagging here, sorry. Is that a lot of people are in disbelief. They don't think that we're really doing anything serious here as far as rallies, that this is all fake outs. You still have plenty of people shorting, expecting dumps here. You still have, most people not even paying attention here at this time. And if they are paying attention, they're saying likely negative things. And so if we're looking at the Wall Street cheat sheet, trying to analyze where we might be, I think it is probably around here. The disbelief. So right near the bottom, this rally will fail like the others, and we have quite a ride probably ahead of us to come. Hope is where most people really start climbing on board, and obviously it gets to the insanity that is euphoria every single time we've seen in these crypto cycles, and we've been through a lot of the depression and so on. Anger definitely been in these stages, if this does happen again, I do feel like personally we're in the disbelief phase. What do you guys think? Where do you feel that we currently are at? Let me know. So one of the things that's being discussed a lot right now is a lot of fear mongering by the mainstream. I wouldn't buy into it. I wouldn't waste my time, but it's surrounding the debt ceiling. I have to talk about it just in case you don't know what's up and why you probably shouldn't be paying attention. But in a nutshell, it is what allows money, the currency, to continue to be printed. There's supposed to be an artificial ceiling for the amount of the debt that the United States can print to pay in the form of bonds. It can issue more bonds, for example. The Federal Reserve buys those bonds, and that gives a little bit more leeway to spend money. But right now, we're in a crazy situation where, debt to gross domestic product is about 120%. So we actually have more debt than we actually produce every single year. And it's something that's really not seen as sustainable. And so it puts more pressure on the currency as more debt gets printed. There's supposed to be this number that gets lifted every now and then, and we're hitting that today, that supposed limit of number that can be printed. So the government has to take most of its revenue now from taxes in order to fund its liabilities and from other things. For example, it could use cash that it currently has on hands and extraordinary measures to generate cash once this debt limit is reached. Had a closing balance of $321.5 billion on the Treasury General account as of January 13th. And Janet Yellen, the head of the Treasury, said that they anticipate this month suspending new investments of 2 government retiree funds, suspending reinvestments in parts of a savings plan for federal employees, yada, yada. Anyway, there's a lot of fear about, oh, what if they don't raise it? Well, they only have enough cash until June. And then at that point, the like almost like happened in 2011, the US could get their credit rating downgraded. You have foreign investments moving overseas, less trust in the United States as investment, less trust in the government to pay back its debt. But again, it's all just fear mongering, and it's used by politicians to try to get something on each side for the most part. But they have generally agreed that it does need to get raised. At least that's what they feel like. And it's just posturing. It doesn't matter who's in the White House or what, it will get raised. So I wouldn't buy too much into it. And just take it all with a grain of salt, any talk around that. You can pretty much ignore these articles because it will be raised. The currency will be the thing that's sacrificed, trust me, before anything else. Anyway, that's why we're all in crypto, right? You guys know that. Thanks, Justin. I don't think I'm going to be running for president anytime soon, but thanks so much, man. Even if it's for your own reasons, I guess. Anyway, yeah, Ethereum looking strong. I was just actually looking at this earlier, but yeah, like as you can see here, I was expecting a pullback, at least a bigger pullback, but it's just showing strength here. It wants to break resistance, it looks like, and climb higher. This could be the real fake out. Maybe we will see lows sooner. I would imagine probably 1,300 to 1,400 for ETH if we do get lows. But if it does break higher, then I think the next real number to be looking at is around here, 1775. And that would be right around where Bitcoin will probably top out. I mean, Ethereum would probably top out itself. You have Jamie Dimon, who is on CNBC talking about Bitcoin. So actually, he was asked by the commentators about Bitcoin. Because of copyright issues, I can't play this video, but I will summarize it for you in a nutshell. As it says here, Bitcoin itself, he said, is a hyped up fraud. Crypto is a decentralized Ponzi scheme. It's a pet rock, and that it is useless. He said that they shouldn't even be asking about Bitcoin. He cares nothing about that subject. He said just some really bad stuff. He said that bad in the sense that it doesn't make any sense. Like many Bitcoiners are pointing out, he talks about the Bitcoin limit of 21 million might just be some sort of fake. It's some sort of farce. It's not even real. That Satoshi might just come out when the 21 millionth Bitcoin is mined, which, by the way, will pretty much never happen if you look at Bitcoin. It'll always be smaller portions of Bitcoin as we get closer to that are mined, and it'll never really hit 21 million whole Bitcoin that have ever been mined. But assuming that it does, he thinks that Satoshi is going to come out and laugh himself to the bank. Just some strange comments. He talks about how JP Morgan Chase, he's the CEO of, does appreciate blockchain technology. But I remember early on, he didn't even appreciate that, right? He thought that it was completely useless. Now they are using it for their own purposes. So I imagine the same thing will happen at some point when he has to come around to Bitcoin and accept that fiat currencies are a failure. And he's sitting on his high horse talking about low-income people who've been affected by frauds. When asked about FTX, instead he starts talking about crypto being a Ponzi scheme. Ridiculous. I shouldn't give him too much more limelight here, but it's just funny. He can't ignore Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. He is asked about them and actually shilled them on the very show by others who've taken more time to understand it. And the value of having a decentralized ledger versus a centralized blockchain technology that Jamie Dimon himself controls. There is value in that obviously Jamie Dimon does not want to see. But there are plenty of others in the mainstream who flip-flop and eventually come to realize crypto's virtues. Another one of those is Jim Cramer. So this is his most recent comment about the cryptocurrency market within the last 24 hours. He said the manipulation higher of crypto, implying that this is all fake, all this climbing of price, despite the fact that the market caps are so high that you have more of an inability than ever to manipulate the price of Bitcoin higher or lower because, again, of just how diversified it is, because of the the uh, the fact that you have these arbitrage opportunities. If one exchange is trying to artificially inflate the price of Bitcoin, then you're going to have Bitcoin entering to sell there and so on. At a higher price, which would ultimately deplete those assets from that exchange and so on. It's just very difficult to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. But Jim Cramer does not believe so, right? It's easier probably to manipulate economic data. I mean, for example, you hear about better jobs, you hear about this term disinflation that Janelle finds quite funny, as do I, these made up terms that are coming out right now. But anyway, would it be reasonable for a matter of national security to fake economic data to make things look better than they are? I would argue that there are those in power that do believe it would be okay as a matter of national security, whatever that means. But it wouldn't be the same with decentralized ledgers where things are on chain to do such kind of tactics, right? Anyway, he said, Jim Cramer, to finish that quote, the manipulation higher of crypto shows you this is truly a sham market. I think we all know after what I said, which is more likely the sham market, and which is a little bit closer to truth. But anyway, as long as you have Jamie Dimon out there only speaking negatives, you have Jim Cramer speaking negatives, then I think it's safe to say it's probably a good time to be buying in and dollar cost averaging. They're still saying negative stuff to those older investors who likely don't want to take the time to understand what's going on with this movement and why it's important. And they've only done well under the traditional financial system, which is unfortunately probably coming to its end. Those of you, you get where I'm going at, basically. In a nutshell, these mainstream folks, you're probably going to be late to the party again, but we're just not there yet. In my opinion, still early days as we start the cycle, very early days, if you recall that Wall Street cheat sheet that I showed you guys earlier on. Anyway, there is an interesting proposal being put forth here by the Ethereum name system DAO. So they are proposing, this is a draft. One of the members of the DAO has drafted this proposal to sell 10,000 of the ETH that are currently beholden by this DAO into USD in order to fund the ENS DAO for 18 to 24 months to cover operating expenses, to be prudent with this investment, with this money in the treasury, to make sure that it's there to fund expenses. So it's 25%, 10,000 ETH of the total amount of ETH that is held by the ENS DAO. This sale will generate, or is expected to generate, in excess of $13 million in USDC. So I don't think it's enough to cause prices to collapse anywhere, unless they sell somewhere like Bits Lotto and you have some sort of position there. Thanks for protecting us, government. Yes. You can no longer lose out if you have your trades over on Bits Lotto, which we talked about yesterday. If you are not sure what I'm referring to and you want to check that video out, probably. But anyway, 10,000 ETH is not that much, $13 million in USDC stable coin. And I can see why this might be prudent to do. Unless, of course, you scroll over to this comment down here by Ronald. So I think this is interesting, and I actually appreciate where he comes from. You don't hear enough about this kind of conjecture and a reminder why holding ETH is important in the first place versus some sort of stable coin or even more centralized stable coin like USDC. Let's get into it. He wrote, this is an even worse idea than having pricing in fiat. Converting Ethereum to a stable coin is admitting the ENS and Ethereum won't make it. We might as well go centralized now. I support this, especially because the money is going back to the same wallet. It's not about budgeting, but about divesting intelligently. This is the same as waging a war against someone, then sending them money. That's, for example, the traditional financial system, waging a war against that, and then playing right into its hands. That's structured suicide, not diversification. This shows how out of touch the DAO is from reality. USDC stablecoin has a blacklist function, and the US government only needs to put a gun to one man's head to KYC to KYC trap the funds. The DAO will have little recourse to recover the funds in this instance, as the ENS token will be considered an illegal security if things get to this point. Finally, how dare anyone in the ENS choose USDC over DAI, a more decentralized stablecoin? It's become a little bit more centralized in the sense that USDC backs DAI, and you have Gemini USD also backing DAI, and that has just been voted to stay as collateral as an option on MakerDAO. But anyway, I digress. I'm not gonna get into all that. But anyway, this is absolute evil in this proposal, choosing USDC over DAI. This needs to be soundly rejected, and anyone in support removed from any participation in the DAO now and permanently into the future. This is crypto terrorism, and you should all feel very, very ashamed. It is beyond shocking. Edit, it is acknowledged some funds for the DAO might need to be budgeted for expenses tied to fiat. This is a reasonable discussion, but the DAO expenses tied to fiat should not even approach 1,000 ETH, let alone 10,000 in the next 5 years. There should be a proposal for each and every instance with a direct reason given. Diversification is not a valid reason. People are pulling numbers completely out of thin air in the DAO. There's no transparency or competence shown by anyone involved to run even a non-profit organization. This post shall serve as further evidence of the incompetence, malice, and intent of the current insiders of the DAO for any regulators into the future. I just think that cryptocurrency and Ethereum, I mean, this is supposed to be some hardcore folks who might be influential in the DAO at ENS, right? Who would believe in moving away from centralized structures, who would believe in decentralized stable coins and so on. And it can be easy to forget in moments like in this bear market and so on. And in this time where stable coins, for the most part, haven't come under full attack by the regulators, and we can still hold them, and blacklist functions against major DeFi protocols haven't necessarily happened just yet. But it is prudent to think into the future how this could affect your project. We're trying to build ecosystems and platforms that are going to be here forever, ideally, for people who want to use them. And so I appreciate Ronald's comment here, and in reminding us to the consideration of what is going on here with a seemingly innocent proposal. Anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts about that. FTX, the new head of FTX, John J. Ray III, who previously oversaw the bankruptcy proceedings of Enron, he has come out saying that he has put together a consortium, a council who is going to be looking into the remainders of FTX exchange to see if the exchange could be revived. He said everything is on the table. If there is a path forward on that, reviving it, then we will not only explore that, we will do it, because exchange customers have said apparently that they like the technology. They're in it for the tech. They like the user interface. There were things that they liked about FTX, and those might drive value beyond just liquidating all of FTX's assets. And there might be more value in the future for creditors in actually reviving the exchange, making it profitable again, and being able to give out funds that way. So this is quite insane. I think I did not see this one necessarily coming out. There's probably some sort of greed that's going on here on the table right now. For example, John Ray, it came out, court filings are showing that he is making $1,300 an hour. He's been having to defend himself against critics. It says here on the Wall Street Journal, who allege he is more motivated by generating fees for himself than salvaging the FTX estate. He has countered that, saying that the high levels of criminal activity surrounding FTX make it difficult to just trust anyone with all of this. They need to get really experienced, seasoned professionals who typically come with a steep price tag. Crime is very expensive. It does a lot of damage to people. One of the damages is that people like me have to come in and fix it. But the money that is coming in to pay him and others like him is coming out of creditor money that would be due perhaps to depositors of FTX and others. So you can see why they might not be happy with all of this. Sam Bankman-Fried did retweet this. It seems he's more and more becoming upset with John Ray, to say the least. He's on social media making it public, his distaste, I think, for John Ray taking over his company. I'm glad Mr. Ray, he said today, is finally paying lip service to turning the exchange back on after months of squashing such efforts. I'm still waiting for him to finally admit FTX US is solvent and give customers their money back. So I'm sure you already know SBF. I don't have to get into Sam Bankman-Fried's background, the previous CEO of FTX. We've done enough covering of him, but he has been saying that FTX US is solvent, that FTX, given enough time, could have probably been solvent, despite a lot of evidence to the contrary that has come to light. He has continued to say that. And so that is really the provenance of this tweet. He is also retweeting this by Meta Lawman, talking about something off with the FTX bankruptcy hearing that's happening tomorrow, whereby a law firm that previously advised FTX is going to be appointed as the debtor's counsel for FTX, Sullivan and Cromwell, which is weird because apparently Mr. Ray, back when he was head of Enron, did not let anyone really involved with Enron be part of these proceedings. But now this law firm that previously did so much work for FTX is being invited to continue to work in this regard, and they're going to be paid so much money. Previously, this law firm handled 20 engagements for FTX, which was a criminal enterprise from inception. Meta Lawman said. Interestingly, SBF actually retweeted that, by the way, if you noticed. They did 20 engagements for FTX in just 16 months. They were paid $8.5 million in fees, and they represented SBF and N. Singh, executives of FTX, personally. Anyways, it's odd to me that SBF is retweeting stuff like this. He, I don't know what his game is at this point. It's interesting to me, but it doesn't seem like coherent behavior so much, some of what he's doing right now. But I don't know, maybe he's playing 5D chess from an angle I just can't figure out here. Let me know what you guys think about this whole debacle here. Also, as we move forward here, I want to mention Shapeshift. So Shapeshift has announced a new airdrop for Fox token holders primarily, although there are other ways to earn this new airdropped token that will be for the ARKEO blockchain. ARKEO is going to be based off the Ark. It's going to be something to do with the antique of the Ark, of Noah's Ark, and something about the archival nature of the Ark. It had these animals that survived the flood, and this being a way to have back-end node data being preserved in a decentralized way for both Shapeshift's decentralized exchange efforts and for other projects to use as well. It's going to be built off of the Cosmos SDK Tendermint infrastructure. And yeah, there's still some work being done. There's this Chad gentleman who's going to be leading engineering efforts. As it says here in the proposal, there's a chance this might never launch. But in the event that you do want to be able to earn these tokens, I would encourage you to also check out the proposal and check out this tweet by Shapeshift and retweet by Eric Voorhees. I always just like to let you know about projects that are coming out that seem interesting. So this might be worth your time, especially if you're a Fox token holder that many Shapeshift exchange users do currently hold. And also, this was quite popular. That came out yesterday, which was Adam Cochran's 2023 shopping list for cryptocurrency. You guys are always asking me what I'm thinking about different projects, what I'm looking at. You know, I haven't put together some sort of huge summary of that, but Adam Cochran actually did. I do think he's someone who does think a little bit more critically and diligently than others in the cryptocurrency space, who I have respected for some time. I don't think he's just trying to pump his bags, although I'm sure he'd be happy if they do pump. Tread cautiously if you're going to be buying anything. Of course, I'm not suggesting you buy anything in this list, but if you'd like to learn a little bit more about opportunities, I guess you can check it out for yourself. Or maybe there are some projects here that you are holding yourself. It's a 268 part tweet thread that he put together here, talking about different projects. And he goes into a lot of them. He goes into Zcash and its potential versus the other leading privacy coin, Monero. He gets into a lot of DeFi projects I think you should be very careful with, especially if you're not much of a player in decentralized finance, you're not messing around a lot with Curve, then I would be careful investing into something you really don't understand. But some interesting plays here. He talks about NFTs plays like Looks Rare as well, which we've heard others like Arthur Hayes promote. So if that's something of value for you to check out, then I would encourage you to do so. But a lot of what he writes here, I think, is relevant to you if you really have dug into DeFi and at least are somewhat familiar with these projects before you begin investing or taking anything seriously here. But for me, it was just a good overview of where his head is at and where others' heads might be at as well. There are low cap coins there that are riskier. He tells you that they're riskier. And there are some bigger market cap coins. Like the first coin that he talks about is Ethereum. That's a no-brainer for me as well, and so much more. So check that out. And I hope you have enjoyed the video. Just wanted to give you a brief update on what's going on today, Thursday, January 19th, 2023. And I invite you to hit the like button if you did enjoy the video so I can continue to bring it to you guys. Subscribe if you're new to the show. Please share it, please. On Twitter, Reddit, or Facebook groups, wherever you like to engage, Hive, Odyssey. And I'll leave you with our quote of the day, as we often do, by Lawrence J. Peter. An economist is an expert who will know tomorrow why the things he predicted yesterday didn't happen today. Yeah, that's like TradFi economists. I think some of these Bitcoin economists are a little bit more forward thinking and hopefully are right in their own predictions, I think, for the betterment of humanity and yeah, posterity. Take care, everyone. Much love and stay cryptic. Peace.